We've got 8 here, so and hopefully more will come on, but we do have a quorum. The first thing I'd like to do is approve the minutes of the May 4th meeting.
So moved.
Okay, a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
It looks unanimous. Okay, thank you.
Abstain.
That's right, because you weren't there, right?
I wasn't there.
Right.
So
Okay.
I need to
All right. Okay, that's good. All right. Well, let's go right into the main part of the meeting. We're going to discuss 3 issues that are going to be on the RTM next Monday night. And what it is these issues have been approved by because they've been in the budget. But what we're doing is we're actually bonding them. So what we're doing is we're basically going to be approving the bonding of sidewalk repair and replacement, sidewalk installation, and also the Durian High School track. And we were not asked by the Rules Committee to weigh on these, but and just talking with some of the members of our committee, it just seemed to make sense to give a description of what they really are, because the Finance and Budget Committee is going to basically talk about the numbers, but they're not really going to give an explanation behind the numbers. So I thought it was good to talk about it a little bit. I did reach out to Ed Gentile, and he gave me a little bit of color on the sidewalks. Let's see. He talked about the new sidewalks are they're basically going from the Boston Post Road to the I-95 bridge downtown. Those are going to be new sidewalks. Also on Heights Road, on Norotan Avenue down to the parking lot entrance. So if you're familiar with Heights Road, there is a sidewalk on the other side of the street, which would be closest to the bank, but there is not a sidewalk on the side of where the depot is. So what often happens is you'll see people, they walk over the overpass on Norotan Avenue, turn down to go to the train station, but they're basically walking in the road. So
I literally nearly run people over every morning coming back from middle school, right there. So a sidewalk is brilliant. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's that. And then as far as the rehabilitation of sidewalks, there are a lot more. He gave me the list. It's Nearwater Lane, Leroy Avenue, West Avenue, Boston Post Road, Tokenique Road, and Mansfield Avenue. And then Ed gave a little bit of an editorial. He said, it may appear that the sidewalk rehab list is without limits or schedule. It's really not true. These projects are being driven by DOT schedule and cooperation. We've experienced some delays lately with the DOT, and we hope that this year will be a lot better. So I think a lot of it too depends on the sidewalks themselves. If they're made out of concrete, they tend to last longer. If they're made out of asphalt, all it takes is one good hit with a snowplow and they crack. So that's part of it too. I don't know which are which, but I know some of them are probably asphalt. So those are the 2 sidewalk issues, and the dollar amounts are the repair project is approximately $750,000, and the sidewalk installation project is $120,000. And like I said before, those are going to be bonded. They're going to be put into a bond package. So that's what we're really approving tonight. So if it's all right, why don't we go ahead and vote on those? First, do you have any questions or comments about them? Yeah, Jim?
Yeah, could you just remind us why we are bonding these instead of paying for them out of the regular sidewalk funds?
I guess the quick answer would be, and Jack would probably say the same thing, is that the idea is to keep our taxes lower. So we're funding these with that, and they're also kind of longer term items. I think to last approximately 30 years. So that may be a reason as well. But I think that's the quick answer is that if they wrapped up all the things that they wanted to bond and just paid for it out of the budget, our budget would have been higher.
Okay, thanks.
So
Sure.
also you're doing just the sidewalks because I walk down, all over the place, and I've noticed a couple things just recently. Well, I noticed it before, but like for example, crossing some of the streets down, over Leroy. It's so many potholes, and it's really kind of scary sometimes. The sidewalk is okay, but you go into potholes on the street. Are they going to be taking care of that as well?
Well, that's a different issue. I'm sure Public Works has a schedule to, repair the roads as far as potholes. There's certainly a schedule also for paving. We're not discussing paving, but I saw that. I mean, that's a big number. I think it's like 5 or 6 million is allocated for paving. So I think that's where that would be taken care of.
And then the other, for example, there's another spot on the sidewalk by Nielsen's and Thorndale, where the handicapped goes into the post road on one side, and then there's no handicapped ramp on the other side. So that's a dangerous thing in that area. And the other problem that I noticed walk is some of the telephone poles on Norotan Avenue. I mean, on the post road, telephone poles are right in the middle of the sidewalk. And
Yeah.
if you're a walker or something, you can't get around
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that seems to be a
Right.
lot of the streets are like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
those
I know, you know.
those are kind of separate issues from what we're talking about tonight. But there's certainly things that we could reach out to the I think it's the police commission that would probably be the ones to give a list of concerns like that.
Well, I think that Public Works allows for public comment or request that certain things be taken care of. And
Well, sure.
I don't see any reason why you don't put a request in for that.
Right.
There's a good chance something will happen, and worst case, nothing will happen, but they do have a task list that they work off of that. And therefore it's recorded. So I would recommend putting your request in. You got nothing to lose.
Department of Public Works. Okay. Yeah. So great. Thank you.
Okay, great. Anything else? Okay.
Motion
Why
to
don't we-
approve
Sure.
the two sidewalk bonding referenda or votes.
Okay. For a second? Okay, all in favor? Okay, good. That's unanimous. Great. Okay, so the third item is to the third item is to talk about the Durian High School running track. And again, this is something, it's $450,000 to replace it. We can talk about it, kind of give an idea of the background of it. The track's been there since the new high school was built. So, I'm guessing it's now going on maybe possibly 20 years. The high school's been there. Time flies. But the original track was I believe was kind of a maroon color, and it's a rubberized track. And then about 5 years ago, they did a patch job where they patched some of the cracks in it, and they recolored it more in the Durian blue. But at the time, that wasn't really a long-term solution. So it's kind of come time to replace it. And I did also reach out to let's get it here, Mike Lynch. He's in charge of facilities at the high school, or actually for the whole all the schools. And he kind of gave me some color on the reasoning and the thought process behind repairing it. And he said, James, I'd received a verbal evaluation back in 2016, which led to the repainting and minor repairs done in the summer of 2017. At that time, based on information given to me by Dalton Track, the Board of Education was told that the work being done in 2017 had a lifespan of 4 to 7 years. Again, nothing in writing. We didn't pay for a report. In 2020, I walked the track with the company that was rebuilding our tennis courts. The company Cape and Island Track said we had at most 3 years left on the existing track and surface. They also gave me a number for the rebuild, which I compared with the quote from Field Turf and the quote from Dalton Track. That is how the number was arrived at. So it sounds like they did get some multiple bids on it, and they went with that. But really, we're not here to question the actual track. It's really just the approval of the bonding of it. But that's kind of a background of where it is. And I know on a personal note, I run into track a lot, and it is showing its age. It's got cracks in it, and one time there must have been a heavy piece of equipment that was pulled across it because there's almost like tire track marks where it's cracked in the rubber. And the rubber is supposed to have a little bit of give to it, and it's awfully hard now. So that's my layman's approach to it, that I think it's time to have it repaired. But the dollar amount, like I said, is what did I say? It's a little over 450,000. So that would be also be added into the bonding. So any comments on that? Okay. Are we ready to vote on this to approve the bonding of it? Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve bonding of the high school track repair.
Okay, second.
Second.
Okay, great. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, good. It's unanimous. Great. Okay, then the next item to discuss is just an update on the potential town purchase of the 60-acre Great Island. I mean, the only real update I could suggest is that, there's been some articles about it now. One was in the Wall Street Journal that actually Jim pointed out. That was kind of the first one. Then there's been some comments since then, but it looks like it's moving forward. I think the selectmen will be voting on it pretty soon. Yeah, Lois.
I was running around town hall today doing the testing, and the sense that I got that there was a firm date by the end of June that we needed to respond or needed to have approvals in by the RTM, that Monica would be presenting the plan to the Board of Selectmen on Monday night. And then from there, there's the Board of Finance, there's other presentations, and there's a public hearing, I believe. So we'll be getting a lot more information. But my understanding is that the plan is to get it through the RTM by the end of June. So it's going to be a really quick and response, and everybody, all hands on deck to make sure we evaluate it. And, I tried to ask a question, well, what happens if we, that's really fast to get $100 million investment through the town and pay attention to it. And the sense that I heard was that that's the way the deal was structured. So I don't know any more than that, but it's for real. And we're all going to have to jump on board as soon as we get some information.
Well, I mean, and kind of on the RTM, the hat we wear is health and safety. And I kind of asked all of you to think about some health and safety aspects of the property, because at some point we're going to be asked to weigh in on it, just like the other committees, and think about some things. I mean, is there supposed to be a big fence around it? I mean, will people just walk freely in there? Will be, can you be in there at night? How safe are the buildings? Are the buildings that kids could go into and get injured? I mean, I'm just thinking all kinds of things. Things come up.
Mac, Planning, Zoning, and Housing held a virtual meeting last week and discussed this at some length as well too. And many of the issues you just mentioned were mentioned there. I'll send out a link to that the Vimeo of that meeting.
Great.
That'd be helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, I encourage you to watch it, because there were actually, the Hearst newspapers have picked up on that meeting, and the headline was something like criticism of proposed purchase or some such thing. But I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions. And I also know there have been a couple of tours given of the island. There was one yesterday. I believe Board of Finance people have already been down to take a look at it. So I imagine that before the RTM votes on it, there will be another opportunity for members of the RTM to come and go down there and take a look at it themselves as well too.
Okay, good. Well, if you pick up on anything like that, let me know. That'd be great. Thank you.
Sure. Yep.
Other than what I've read in newspaper articles and what's been out there, is there any concrete plans? Was that discussed in the meeting last week about, it's a big purchase. So what are the actual plans? Is it all just hypothetical right now?
I don't know. I don't know if there's been anything discussed, and I'm sure that'll be part of the debate in front of Board of Selectmen, as well as obviously the RTM. So I don't know whether they're going to leave it as, undeveloped open space. But okay. undeveloped open space or do something with the existing housing. There are people that live there already. There is a stable which is actively used. There are horses there that are, I don't know, they rent space and they ride out there as well too. So there are a lot of different moving parts, but I agree. I think that's going to be a very important consideration. My hunch would be they're not going to try and develop it right now. They'll just leave it as open space, but that's just a guess on my part.
Well, Jim, if you remember when we approved the purchase of what is now called Highland Farms, I mean, there was a lot of second guessing after the fact that we were never told that there'd be athletic use on the field. We thought it was just open space. There was a lot of back and forth about that in hindsight. So I think the point's well taken that Kate said they really should at least come up with kind of a game plan.
Yep.
But it
I'm
is
sure.
short timing. I mean, the timing is incredible. The shortness of the time to figure out what they want to do and get it communicated to a whole bunch of people is really, really short.
Well, one of the RTM members who should remain nameless, who took the tour yesterday, was speaking with a real estate agent who implied that there were other competitive bids, that ours is not the only bid that's out there that they're considering. And some of the other bids call for breaking up the land and putting, mega mansions on it, in the $5 million range and the $2 million range. So, if we don't want that to happen and the neighbors don't want that to happen, the town maintaining it as somewhat open space, although that may increase the amount of traffic that goes down there for people to enjoy it, may be an alternative to seeing it further developed for more permanent housing. But I don't know. The details really have to come.
Yeah.
One of the things that I heard and along the same lines was when they were talking 175 million, that number was not of interest to developers. But when they start talking to 100 million, that some well-financed developers could actually consider it.
Yeah, and if there are other bidders out there, until we go to contract, does that mean we go into a bidding war against them?
I thought we had a contract, which is why. No,
I believe not. No, I believe we're just, well, again, this is secondhand, but I believe we're just one of several people that are bidding on the property. So
I read in the paper that there was a contract that they were in, but
no, I don't think they can't. I don't think they can go to a contract until the Board of Selectmen approves it.
well, with contingencies, that's what I thought I read.
Well, Board of Selectmen still hasn't taken any kind of a vote on it.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then there's
Let
the
alone Board of
finance,
Finance, right?
and then there's the RTM. But other than that, we're way
Yeah,
along
aside
the
from
road.
that, we're halfway home, right? Yeah.
It's
So
a concrete
don't-
idea.
Don't count your chickens until the eggs are hatched.
But it does sort of seem like it's coming awfully fast, but that seems to be kind of our history. Always things are put in our lap that, you've got to do this right away. And whether it's approving a contract that was negotiated and all of a sudden it's, we have 30 days or it becomes effective without us voting. And so there's always these deadlines, but this is a big deadline.
Well, if we assume, and I guess this is fair, if we assume that we're going to bond this, we don't have 100 million in our cash accounts to pay for this.
Mhm.
But I assume if we're going to bond this, this is going to be something we're going to pay off over 30, 50 years.
Yeah.
So the effect year to year won't be huge. But, A, we don't want it to go into private hands, I guess. And B, by spreading out that investment, the people who will be enjoying it 100 years from now, we're not all going to be paying for it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a good
Yeah.
good point.
It may make it more palatable
Hmm.
to the town as a whole.
Yeah. And, I'm sure we will hear again that New Canaan had the opportunity to buy a piece of beach land on the coast, and they didn't take it, and they're kicking themselves now.
Hmm.
So, same thing with Highland Farms. I mean, the Highland Farms purchase came with I think it was a 40-year moratorium on building anything permanent on that piece of land. soccer fields notwithstanding, or grassy fields, walking track notwithstanding. But we got to take a look at this in the long-term view, well beyond our enjoyment in the next X number of years.
Well, I go to off season, I go to Todd's Point in Greenwich frequently, and that is a masterpiece of land. And this could be the same. And also there's Grace Farms up in New Canaan, which is privately owned. That was a huge sum of money, but it's magnificent. And I mean, you don't get that opportunity very often, especially, and this is the only one in our town. So we'll see how the numbers work. But, it's going to be a tough decision.
They're calling it Waveney on the water. At the
Right.
But Waveney is nothing compared to these other places. I'm sorry. I'm not a Waveney fan.
Oh, okay.
But that's interesting about Waveney. Does anyone know the history of that? Was that gifted to the town? Did the town purchase Waveney?
I don't know.
Don't know.
Yeah, but I think there is a pretty good size. I guess it was a house at one time. It's now used for private weddings, public functions, and I think our town can envision doing that with the manor home that's on Great Island.
Yeah,
Right.
maybe that could offset the loss of the tax revenue or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was at Waveney one time recently, and they were filming some movie on the land. It was wild to watch it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, at some point we'll have to vote on that, but not tonight. So to be continued. I think that's really it. I did want to point out that on the town website there's a pretty extensive list of mental health resources, and with the situation in our town with the deaths of the high school students and whatnot. It's a really good thing to look at. I didn't really print it out. It's easier just to go on there. There's tons of information about that.
And I did that mental health training that's being offered. I did that a couple of weeks ago, and it was great. It was really, really worthwhile. And now I've seen it happening again in June and July. So they've added new sessions.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Let's see. The other thing I wanted to point out is that the Durian Department of Health is doing a needs assessment with both Norwalk Hospital and Stanford Hospital. Both the hospitals will kind of be driving the questionnaires, but they'll be I believe sent out to residents. Asking what residents of our town would want to have at each hospital. So I think those are the two principal hospitals that we that we use. At least a post 53 takes people to. So that's something to kind of be looking for. And then the other thing is that the Slow Down in Town campaign is kicking off. Jim, I think you put something out today on Twitter.
Yep.
So that's just coming out. And there are yard signs. What I thought we'd do is get more of a number, but on all of us, we're all in different districts in town. What I suggested to the committee is that I would get the yard signs. I don't know if it's going to be 20 signs, 50 signs, or whatever, but the idea would be that once I get them, I could shoot an email out to everybody who all would like to could come. I'll just have them at my house. You could pick them up and then distribute them in your particular neighborhood. They're just they have the logo on it, but they're just very similar to what you see out there now. Thankfully, right now we don't have campaign logos, but there are other things out there, that are pertinent. But I think the signs do a good job because you really do see them when you drive by. So
Thanks.
I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, that would be
I'll
great.
keep you posted on that. That's really it as far as announcements. Anything else? Yeah, Jim.
I was just going to add, I mean, we talked about this with David Knopf, I think, at our last meeting, and that is, COVID, although this latest variant seems to be dissipating. I got it. My wife got it. And we both used the test to treat option through CVS to get the Plaxovid antiviral pills free. Thank you, Uncle Sam, which worked amazingly well. So if anybody comes down with COVID, The quicker you can get in touch with your family doctor or go down to one of these CVS Minute clinics, get tested, you'll get the pills. You want to start taking them early, like within the first 2 or 3 days of symptoms. But they knock down the virus, they make you less contagious, and they make you feel a lot better very quickly.
Well,
Hey,
that's great,
Jim,
'cause
it's
you-
Brian. I followed that with my father, who's 94 after you told me, and he took the 2 pills, and he was good to go after a few days. So thanks for
There you
sharing
go.
that.
Oh, hey, my pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
thank
that's great. I had actually asked David to be on tonight, but he's actually on vacation.
Good for him.
God, yeah,
Finally.
God bless him. Yeah, it's a
He
long,
deserves
long
it.
awaited. Every time he had something planned, something came up. So it's nice that he's officially getting away. But I'll send this week's numbers out. They're actually looking good. The numbers are down in our town, but the positivity rate is higher. But I think that's because less people have been tested. So it's kind of a seesaw. But I'll send those out. But I think it's encouraging. The last 2 weeks, the actual numbers of people testing positive have come down, which is good. Hopefully, that's a trend everywhere.
And remember, there are free PCR tests at the facility behind St. John's Church on the Post Road in the Roden Heights. You get results same day if you go in the morning hours.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, it's good to know.
Yeah.
Free to you, but paid for by. There is no free lunch. There is no free PCR test.
I think it's
Yeah.
Progressive Diagnostics, right, Jim?
Yes, it is. Yes.
And they
Yeah.
accept insurance, but they also say if you don't have insurance, we will not bother you, I guess.
Yeah, they charge Medicare $100 per test. I found out.
Okay.
And also, you can get more of the free at-home tests from the government, another 8 of them. I just got mine today in the mail, 2 more packages with
Right.
like 5 tests each in it.
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
You can get them through the Postal Service. I'll
Postal
send out the
Service.
link. You can also, if you have insurance, go down to CVS and request them against your insurance. You have to wait for them to turn it into a prescription, but you can pick them up. I think we got like 20, so we're set.
yeah, I'm all
Right.
set.
We're going to be
So-
testing
Just
every
Yeah.
day
today.
for the rest of our. There you go. There you go.
yeah. Well, we have some boxes in our cabinet, and I looked at them, and they actually the expiration dates are coming up. So I ordered some like Jim just said through the post office, and
Right.
maybe I'll get them by Christmas. Who knows?
I just
Mine came within about a week.
Mine did
Oh,
too.
really?
From the
Okay.
post office,
Yeah, they're much
which is
faster
fine.
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to say that it's very convenient and great to have the home tests, but I know several people that have had symptoms and had COVID and tested negative. So you really have to, because of the viral load, you have to test multiple, like you have to test and then wait 3 days. And if you still have symptoms, you should retest just because it's about 50% accurate.
And
I mean,
did
I thought-
somebody in the neighborhood.
I was
Go ahead.
surprised. I assumed that with symptoms, it would automatically, if you had COVID, I assumed that it would pick it up. Like, I don't really understand, but it's the viral load that,
Yeah, no, they're not 100% accurate. They say about 95%.
Right.
I did somebody in the neighborhood the other day who was coughing, and he didn't think he had COVID. I said, "Oh, why don't you come over and I'll do a test in the yard?" And I did, and it was positive.
Boom. Right
The
there.
first positive one that I've done a lot of them for people, and then told him to go to St. John's for a PCR, and he got the
Yeah.
confirmation of that, called his doctor, and he got the Paxlovid from
Yeah.
the pharmacy. So that worked out very well for him.
Yeah. My family doctor says don't trust the at-home tests.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think I had any symptoms. I thought I had a cold. I thought, well, just for fun, I'll test. And you put the thing in and it says, wait 5 minutes. Well, it took 30 seconds and it immediately tested positive. So then I had to go down to get a PCR just to be sure.
Confirmation,
But
right.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
no reason not to test if you have any inkling you might have COVID.
Right.
And I just want to say along those lines that masks are required for the RTM meeting on Monday night. Please.
Thank you.
I
No,
test
good to know.
myself every week at home at least once, and then I get a PCR test every week also because I'm in the school with all these
Right.
children who can't keep their masks on, the little kids, first grade, and yeah, so far so good.
Well,
Yeah.
we got what, 2 more weeks of school?
Yeah, the 22nd they get out up in New Haven. I think the same thing around here maybe.
Cool.
Oh, good. Okay, well, listen, I think that's kind of all we had. Any other announcements or anything?
Just a
Okay.
quick question. I was running kids around. Can I see this? It says it was videotaped. How can I find the recording?
Oh, well,
You came to the right place.
I'm glad you
you're
asked.
asking the right guy. It'll be on Vimeo, if not tonight, tomorrow morning, and I'll send out the link to everybody, along
Thank you
with
so
the
much.
how to get the Postal Service PCR or home test kits, and the link to the PZ&H meeting discussing Great Island Purchase too.
That'd be
Thank
good.
you. Sorry
Watch
about
your email.
being late.
No worries. You want a motion to
That's
adjourn, Mr. Chairman?
Sure,
So
absolutely.
moved.
Second.
Okay. Second, all in favor?
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Great.
See you Monday
Thanks,
night.
everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.